Assalamu alaikum, ICOM family. Before we start, I'd like to pay my respects to the traditional owners of the land, the Wurundjeri people, and pay my respects to the elders, past and present, and emerging. Today's topic of ICOM talks will be about fitting in, specifically at school. As you can tell, because of the white hairs in my beard, it's taken me a while to fit in many different places, and I've had jobs and situations that I've had to meet and greet different people. So, before we start, I'd like to introduce our members. We have Farhad, who is our college vice captain. We have Anaya, who's another one of our college vice captains, and we have Razan, who is the head of our SRC Wellbeing. So, first things first, fitting in. What does that mean to you all? Farhad?
Um, Fitting in means basically you're respected and you're aware of your surroundings, both from a social, environmental, and maybe even psychological perspective. And basically, what that means is you are aware of what your friends do and what you do and how that can impact them. You're aware of your own well being and your friends' well being. And you're also aware of where you are and that there's a time and place for everything that you do and you say.
All right. Awareness seems to be the game here. Do you always have to be aware of where you are, or is it more of you being accepted for you in terms of fitting in?
Yeah, I think it's like you shouldn't be so aware that you're adjusting particular things that don't need to be adjusted and changing the way that you are. Like there's a way to be yourself in a manner that is like it's kind of like right in the environment, but you don't really have to be so aware of everything that you do. Like, oh, what are they going to think of me? Or how's that going to affect someone else? You know, it's more about like fitting in. It could be seen in two ways, like as a negative way, like fitting into a bad environment, or fitting in a good way. But also you have to like maintain the mixture of like being yourself and not changing
like
who you are.
Fitting in is really like a balance between getting like being like yourself and like liking who you are as like and being yourself and liking who you are, not wanting to have to make changes for other people, but at the same time not being perceived as like abnormal in the eyes of others.
All right. So fitting in at school. I know you've been here since you were in grade 4. You've been here since grade 2 and
Grade 1.
grade 1. So you really haven't had to adjust in terms of fitting into the school environment. How about new classes? Like you've been put into different classes, I'm guessing, right?
Yeah.
How's it been fitting in with other students in your classes?
No, like honestly, like our cohort so small. Like we literally like every year it's just like mixed between two classes and we just kind of swap around a few people every year. So you just know who you're going to be with, and it's not really a big deal for us. I guess it's different. Like I wouldn't know how it's like for like the year 7s and 8s now, because I know that their cohort's so big they have like 4 classes.
Yeah.
And yeah, we just never really had to do like obviously like with new people you have to deal with, but we just found the same people with like 3 or 4 people that's new every year coming in.
Okay. So how have you accommodated for new people in your class?
Well, I can relate back to like maybe 2 years ago when we had a new student join in our class, and basically he came from another school and he was different to how we did things. So there was a bit of a barrier between communication, or not really communication in terms of language, but more of like a social perspective.
Yeah.
And how we adapted to that was we decided to, like the whole class, we all decided to, understand him more and get him involved in more of our activities, both in class and outside of class, and maybe even, when we're going out and stuff. And basically, I guess that's what allowed us to feel comfortable around him and him to feel comfortable around us. And based on that, you just adapt to the person and you respect for who they are.
Yeah.
You have respect for who they are, and you would get the same thing from them as well.
All right. I just want to go back to just the classroom environment. We had a pre-discussion on this. How does a seating plan adjust to the way you get along with someone? I know Anaya touched on it.
It's like being friends with people. First of all, being friends with people in school is so different from being friends with people outside of school. Because in school, you're kind of forced to be friends with them. You're only friends with them because you're there. Same thing goes for like the seating plans. It's just like more into like the thing is like you sit next to someone and like I know that a bunch of like my friends now I would not be friends with them if a teacher didn't make me move to the back, like a couple years back. And what's it called? Like, just don't be too mad if you get moved next to someone new. Like, if anything, it gives you a chance to like learn how other people work. Because I know, like, if I had the if I was given the choice to like sit next to whoever I wanted, like for like my entire high school life, like I would be sitting next to the same people the entire time. If I was in group with people that I didn't know, if I wasn't sitting next to people I didn't know, then I would be missing out on so many opportunities.
And it's quite degrading. Like some people, they're quite insensitive with other people's like feelings. Like especially like in primary, like grade 6, 7. If you move next to someone else, like why? Like, I was next to my friend. Come on, like miss, please. But it's just because you don't really know them that much, or you feel like your personalities are different. Different doesn't necessarily mean that you won't get along. Sometimes you can bring the best out of each other. You can help someone be more confident. They can help you be more like to focus, and you can learn from everyone. To be honest, in any way possible. So there shouldn't be a reason why you put off someone initially.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like there's that dynamic a lot in the school where it's like, oh, I don't like them. They're like, why? Because I don't know, I just don't like their vibe. I don't like like, why? Why would you think that? It's like there's no reason to.
I guess what you need to do is I think when you're starting up young and you move on from your primary school to your secondary school, I guess that's like one milestone in your whole like schooling years. I mean, I remember it personally, going from year 6, graduating, going to year 7. Where you were my humanities teacher, and there was a different, there was a whole different vibe to that. A lot of the teachers were harsh, and there was a lot of workload. But as you grow up, you slowly begin to adapt and realize, that it's not hard. It's just there for you, and you just got to learn to adapt to it. And basically, like with your classmates and sitting next to your peers and stuff, you start off in primary school as a group of friends, or maybe 1 or 2 friends here and there. But then you start to build up as a group, and maybe by the end of secondary, you realise you've got a whole class. For example, if I was to do something wrong and I was to get moved around, the teacher would assume that, oh, he's going to get moved around and he's not going to talk. But you don't know anything, At the end of the day, the whole class is my squad.
Look, I certainly know what you're talking about, because to this day I'm still friends with a lot of my friends from high school. So, one question I do want to ask is, how do you adapt to people around you changing? Like, do you find yourself changing at the same pace as others, or because what I see in classes is that students are changing at their own different pace, but how are the students coping with that? Like, do they feel that do you feel that some students are affronted, like they're like, oh, that person's different now, they're not accepting of change, or are you learning to adapt to people's changing behaviours or modes or ethics, as it were?
Well, everyone's different in their own way, and you've got to respect that. And everyone, has a different way of adapting and coping and, realising who they're with, right? Everyone has their own stage, and I guess for some people it's easier to do it instantly, although I don't know many. For others, it's it's a slow process or a moderate process, and at the end of the day, you get there. You still accomplish something by knowing that person and establishing a friendship with them. So you don't seclude them, but at the same time, you don't have your friend is having a negative impression on that person.
Okay.
Otherwise, that's just bullying, and
that is.
So you do it in your own way, but you just got to aim that it happens.
All right.
Yeah, like when everyone's changing, something that like you need to work on yourself is to understand that you shouldn't be focusing on everyone else's changes first. Like, accept the fact that you yourself are going to change, because nobody's going to stay the same. Especially like throughout these years, this is literally you transitioning from a kid to an adult. You're not gonna have that same mindset throughout the entire thing, and it should go for other people as well. If somebody's maturing faster than you, then it's going to cause clashes. You can't expect it not to. Like, it's literally, like I said, maturity is a bunch of different maturities all like put together in a classroom, and then everyone's just going to fight and all that. But like, once you accept that you're changing, I feel like at that point you'll understand how other people are going through it as well.
Yeah. Like, you never know why someone is changing.
Yeah.
To impress others, or things behind the scenes, if they have to mature faster, or like just people that surrounded with them being immature, like to fit in doing their actions. Like, you just have to be understanding and really get where they're coming from, and rather than judging them,
All right. Look, I just want, before we leave, I want one thing from you. Like, What would be that one piece of advice you could give to your classmates on accepting others or accepting themselves so that fitting in is not so much of a issue, as not as big of an issue as it is currently?
You might seem like, you might think that right now you're the king, you're the top person in the whole of your like your group of friends basically. But as soon as you reach, year 11, year 12, and you go out to the real world, you realise that you're nothing, just another ordinary person. And really, the only people above you are either your educators or your employers. And that's when you don't really, you understand that you weren't anything back in primary or in secondary. You were just a normal student. And if you don't respect someone for who they are, no one's going to respect you when you get out.
All right, so give respect to get respect.
Yeah.
All right, what about you two?
I think don't just assume someone else is going to do your job. Like, I feel like if a new student comes, like everyone's like, I'm not sure. Like, you think someone else is going to take the duty of getting to know them.
Yeah.
And and being their friend group, because you feel like maybe they're not like because you don't really know them. You think maybe they'll be better with that group of friends. Like, they're not really like us.
Yeah.
Like, so take initiative and don't just expect someone else to help comfort that person. Because it takes everyone to make them more. Because even if it doesn't work out, it's not a good friendship. You can help them be less scared to go talk to other people.
I like that approach.
Don't force yourself to become someone different to the point where you don't enjoy these years. Because literally, like, once high school's over, you're not gonna look at these people anymore. Like, yes, you're like, because of social media, you'll have some sort of connection with them, but you're not gonna spend every hour, like 8 hours a day with them anymore. And also, like, because I talk about it with my friends a lot, like, I love them and everything, but we already know, like, once, like, 2 years from now, we're literally not gonna look at each other at all. So don't force yourself to fit into this image of yourself or someone else. Like, even if you take someone else as an example for yourself, just focus on yourself without being selfish.
All right, beautiful. Thank you very much, and assalamu alaikum.